Welcome to onSodi.com.
The first time you look at the Photoshop Workspace, it can look very complicated. Well, that's because it is. But with some practice and some exercises, and following our video lessons, you'll begin to understand and use the workspace for your advantage. Trying to get to know and remember everything before you start work in any Photoshop way will not be all that successful, as there are just so many options available. The best way to learn is by practice, and following our lessons, we will introduce you to the essential parts of the workspace. There are already many images open in my workspace, and the center area here is known as the image area. Over in the left-hand side is the toolbar. At the top is the main contextual menu, and then I have an options bar, and the options bar changes any time I change to a particular tool in the toolbar. Over on the right-hand side are the panels, or palettes as they are also known. We use these panels extensively to make modifications to our photographs. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, there is some information about the current file that is active and currently open. Let's start by having a look at the layout and the workspace. Probably the most important thing to pay attention to is appearing in the right-hand side, where we have a variety of different workspace options. And these are presets, and you can cycle through these and you can see that the panels will change with each chosen workspace. You can choose a new workspace and save a workspace if you like. We recommend that you use either the Essentials workspace or the Photography workspace, and these will automatically provide you with the most important panels for photography. The Reset workspace option is the best way to return your workspace back to a saved default setting. That's if you get stuck. Before we start getting into individual tools and how they work, what we want to do first is to have a look and see how things can be moved around. A good, clean workspace makes things easier to use and understand. Over here on the toolbar, for example, we can click and hold, and we can drag the toolbar to any position. It's best over on the left-hand side. Dragging it over here to the left-hand side, and you can see that the blue docking line appears, and release, and the toolbar is in its best position. Coming over to the right-hand side and click and hold, and whenever that double arrowhead appears, we can adjust the panels. We can adjust the size, and the little arrowheads at the top will expand or collapse the panels. If you're working on a laptop, for example, having these panels collapsed will give you more screen real estate. We can move the order of any panel around. When there is a collapsed menu, by clicking on one of the options here, the flyout panel will appear for us. In all of these panels, we can grab the bottom right-hand side and we can click or expand or collapse. You can also click the double-headed arrow to reduce itself back to the panel. This is a very handy way of being able to work, and the more you work, the more familiar you will become with this. The Layers panel and the Channel panels are the most extensively used panels in the Photoshop workspace, and we have some dedicated videos to these. They offer amazing control and all sorts of attributes. Without getting ahead of ourselves, let's have a little bit more of a look at some of these panels, and you will see that just about every panel has this small flyout menu or a subcontextual menu, and we can make further adjustments here. Panels have options available everywhere. Also, when we look at some panels, down in the bottom area there is a whole range of different adjustments that you can make, and we can use these tools extensively. You'll actually find yourself using the tools in the panels more than you will by going to the main contextual menu. Let's now have a look at the toolbar in a little bit more depth. And any of these tools that display that tiny little right-handed arrow means that there are other tools available. Clicking and holding opens up those other tool sets. And you can see with many of the tools in the toolbar, there are many other tools accompanying them. You may also notice that each time I click on one of these tool sets, the options bar at the top, which is below our main contextual menu, changes to reflect the attributes of the chosen tool. Also residing down lower in the toolbar is the foreground and background color, and this is used extensively. Coming up to the main contextual menu, and you will see that some of these drop-down menus have areas that are grayed out. And when they are grayed out, it means that that particular function is not available whilst a file is in a particular state. You'll also notice most of these functions have a keyboard shortcut that is displayed next to their name. There's just so much here, and following simple exercises and introducing tools to you as we progress through the lessons is by far the best way to learn about all of these options. Let's have a look at some other functions. Via the Window menu, you can choose panels that are not currently displayed, and you don't want to have them all displayed. We can click on the histogram, for example, and the histogram palette will now become available over here in the right-hand side. You could actually click and put this on the toolbar if you wanted to. Also within this menu, we can add and subtract all sorts of panels. These options are really important, and it's good to have the application frame set so images remain in the tabbed view. We can also arrange our files in other ways too. Best to consolidate all to tabs to bring them back. Further, with this window menu, you can also set the workspaces, which is the same as what we showed you earlier. It's all pretty daunting and busy, and we haven't even started any work yet. It's okay. Don't panic. You will get to know these tools in the following video lessons. You will learn more about the workspace as you proceed through our video lessons and practice on your own files, and we will introduce new functions in just about every lesson.